This is going to give you some very, very good insight as to how things can go terribly wrong in China. This video is brought to you by Extra Wallets. It is the new year and it's time for us to have a New Year's resolution. So how about losing a couple of pounds? And we can do this by tossing our old fat wallets and getting a high-tech, slimline, awesome pop-out card, RFID protected, really cool leather-bound wallet from Extra. It's so much more convenient to carry around a wallet like this. And with a nifty little tracker, if I've left my wallet in the office and I leave, my phone will warn me and tell me that I've left my wallet behind. On top of that, if I can't find my phone, but I have my wallet on me, I can double tap the little tracker and my phone will audibly make a noise so I can go and find it. Pretty cool stuff. Right now, Extra's having a fantastic Valentine's Day sale. Go and jump on their website, you'll get 20% off everything. And on top of that, if you go to shop.extra.com/SerpentZA, you'll get a further discount on anything you buy. Guys, it's brilliant. I know sometimes it's difficult to find something to buy your significant other for Valentine's Day. Well, here's your answer. Anyway, back to the video. So this happened very recently. A man named Li Mo, who lives in Binzhou in Shanxi province, well, he was concerned for his fellow villagers. In the little WeChat group, they were reminded to go and get their vaccines, their inoculations. You know, obviously this is a COVID vaccine. And he stated in their little group that you should be careful. After you get your vaccine, you should not get your nucleic acid test. In other words, you should not go to get tested to see if you have COVID or not, because it will give you a positive result within 48 hours of receiving the vaccine. Now, this is just a widely known scientific fact. In fact, even the Shenzhen CDC put out a notice to say that within 48 hours of receiving your vaccination, do not get a test because it's going to give you a false positive. However, and this is the unfortunate way society in China is going, someone in that WeChat group ratted him out to the local government. This snitch culture has been encouraged by the Communist Party of China ever since they got into power, and you can see it happen through the Cultural Revolution and the Great Leap Forward, and it's been happening in recent times too. But ratting out and snitching out your neighbors is always rewarded by the authorities. And so somebody in that little village group of his ratted him out to the police. So the police came to arrest him, made him sit down, sign a confession with his fingerprint. Is this sounding familiar? We saw this happen before, in the beginning of the pandemic, when Dr. Li Wenliang and some other doctors were discussing this new coronavirus, or this new SARS-like virus that was coming out, and they too were ratted out by somebody in the group. And guess what? They were all taken down and forced to sign these ridiculous confessions that they were spreading rumors. And exactly the same, had to put their fingerprint on them, had to apologize and say they were wrong. Well, this is exactly what's happened to this gentleman, Mr. Li. He got forced to sign a document saying he was spreading rumors and hindering the vaccination process and all sorts of other nonsense like this. They took photos of him with his confession, along with the so-called rumor that he was spreading, and he had to hold up a screenshot of his conversation, and he had to admit that he was wrong and then sign it. Let me translate the official police report for you. It says, on January 17, the offender, Li Mo, privately posted in a WeChat group, "You can't do nucleic acid testing directly after your vaccination, otherwise it will return a false positive," which seriously affected the normal progress of vaccination work and constituted fictitious facts to disrupt public order. The Binzhou police imposed a fine on Li Mo in accordance with Article 25 of the Public Security Administration Punishment Law, a fine of 500 yuan. So you see, even though a person may know the real truth in China, even if someone speaks the truth, they, just like Li Mo, may be forced to apologize for saying the truth and for saying that they were wrong and that they were spreading rumors, and to be humiliated in public. Because when the truth does not fit the narrative of the local government or the government in general in China, it can be twisted and people can be forced into these confessions like he was. Very fortunately for Mr. Li, in this case, the Chinese government themselves had put out notices, like I said, like this notice from the Shenzhen CDC. And when this was brought to the attention of the authorities, they had nothing else they could do other than to retract the charges, because they had fined him as well as making him sign these. They'd fined him 500 RMB, which, trust me, when you're living in a rural village in China, that is a lot of money. So they had fined him 500 RMB. They'd made him sign this document and this confession that he'd been spreading rumors and hindering the vaccination process and everything. They had criminal charges against him. Well, they put out a statement saying that they have now dropped the criminal charges and they've refunded him his fine. Let me translate this one for you. It says, in response to the rumor case involving Li Mo Mo, concerned by netizens, our bureau immediately launched a case review. After verification, Li Mo Mo's behavior did not constitute an illegal act, and the administrative penalty decision made against him has been revoked. At present, our bureau has apologized to the parties, refunded the fines, and initiated accountability procedures for the relevant responsible persons. But guess what? This is only because the Chinese government had put out plenty of official notices basically saying the exact same thing that he said. So it just shows you how ridiculous it is. If the Chinese government wants to, whether it's a low-level provincial government or a village council or anything, if the Communist Party of China wants to accuse you of something, they can accuse you of something and they can make you guilty and they can force you to confess to a crime which you did not commit. This permeates every single aspect of Chinese society. We saw it with the Zhengzhou flooding. Remember when the subway tunnels were flooded, people were trapped in the subway cars, and we saw the last few moments of certain people's lives as they live streamed their last moments, getting stuck in this terrible coffin of a subway car. It was awful, terrible nightmare stuff. All the people that were trapped in that massive long tunnel who did not get out of their cars, and thousands of people were in that tunnel and it filled up in 5 minutes. Remember that? And when they released the numbers of, say, only 5 or 10 people dead in the whole city, well, guess what? The Chinese government finally admitted that they lied about the numbers of deaths in Zhengzhou. Now they're putting a number of 360 odd people died. Guess what? That's still a bunch of nonsense. You can take that number and you can multiply it by 10 or 20. The evidence is there. Anyone who's smart and has common sense can see exactly how bad it was, and they're continuously underplaying it. But this again proves that any numbers coming out of China, whether it's got to do with COVID deaths, I mean, let's just look at these official statistics for a minute here. Okay, apparently only 4,600 odd deaths. Let's see. Let's go look at the graphs. I mean, this is just comical. Tell me, who's going to believe that between April 17 of 2020 and January 27 of 2022, there were only 4 COVID deaths in China? Come on. Who do you think we are? Stupid little children? Do they really expect the rest of the world to believe this nonsense? So when it comes to COVID deaths, when it comes to GDP, when it comes to security numbers, when it comes to any official numbers, anything to do with the economy, anything coming out of China, it's all doctored and it's all fake. And this case, forcing a well-meaning man to confess that he was lying when in fact all he was doing was telling the truth, shows us in plain sight exactly how this kind of thing is normally conducted and how they usually would get away with it if it wasn't for the fact that this particular individual was actually telling the truth. And it was a truth that the Chinese government agreed with. Keep this in mind next time the Chinese government tries to tell you that nothing's going on in Xinjiang, that Tibetans are happy, and that, of course, COVID comes from another country. Anyway, guys, until next time, you know the drill. Unlike the CCP, stay awesome.